Okay, so we're going to get into some operations with polynomials. A lot of these will probably look familiar. Some of them might be a little bit different than what you're used to, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Main thing to remember is to always check your like terms. So on number 1, we're trying to add both of those polynomials, and we need to find some like terms. So we have this and this. So 3x cubed plus another x cubed will give me 4x cubed. 2x squared and negative 10x squared are going to add, and we have negative 8x squared. Excuse me. Okay. And then now we're going to subtract. Now remember, you're subtracting all of these on this right-hand side. So basically, if you remember from middle school, you're going to add the opposite. So you're adding, and all these are going to change to the opposite sign. So we have a negative, positive, and now this is going to be a negative 1. Now I can combine my like terms. So I have 8x cubed and a negative 2x cubed. So I have 6x cubed. And then let's see, negative 3x squared and negative 6x squared. So negative 9x squared. A negative 2x and a positive 1x, so it's negative x, and positive 9 and negative 1, which will leave me with a positive 8. Again, that's as far as I can go right there. I can't combine anything else, so we're going to leave it just like that. All right, moving on. Again, just like terms on all of these. We'll go ahead and do example 4. This one's easy. You should be able to do that. This one has a couple of different ones, so just make sure that you are looking at all 3 polynomials, okay, and combining like terms here, okay. Remember to change this to adding the opposite, negative plus negative here. So we're going to use some context with these problems now, and basically with example 5, we're finding the perimeter, okay? Perimeter is like fence. You're trying to figure out the lengths and the width added all together. And so we're going to go with 4x minus 1 plus 6x plus 9. And over here, we have another 4x minus 1. So plus 4x minus 1 plus another 6x plus 9. Combine like terms, 4 and a 6 and a 4 and a 6, that's 20x. Negative 1 and a positive 9, that's 8. Another negative 1, that's 7. Plus the 9 is 16. That would be the perimeter. All right, so moving along. It wants to know the value of x and then decide what the perimeter is. Well, we don't have a perimeter to start with, and we don't have a certain value for x that we would be able to find because we don't have any of the numbers. So we're going to skip that one. All right, so perimeter is 7x to the 4th plus 9x cubed minus 6x squared plus 10 for this pentagon. We want to know the length of the missing side, so we're going to be missing some stuff. We're trying to make this. So let's see what we have so far and see what else we need to do. So we have 3x to the 4th and a 4x to the 4th. So right now we have 7x to the 4th. We do not need any more x to the 4th for this side over here. Okay, we don't. Now let's look. We have 9x cubed. So right now we have 5x cubed and a 4x cubed. And that's it. So that's 9x cubed. We don't need any more x cubed for this missing side over here. All right, so how many x squareds do we have? Negative 2x squared, another negative 2x squared. Right now I'm at negative 4x squared. But I'm supposed to have negative 6. So that tells me that I need, for this side, to have another negative 2x squared. All right. And lastly, I have a positive 10 that I need to have. So let's see. We have a negative 4. Nope. we missed an x. Uh-oh, let's go back. This one has a 6x, so if we don't want any x's in our final perimeter, and oh, we have another negative 3x, so right now we have a positive 3x, but we don't want any in our perimeter. That means that our missing side is going to have a negative 3x to cancel that out. All right, now we can look at the constants. So they give us negative 4 already, and that's it. Well, we want a positive 10. So if we have a negative 4, and in order to make up an additional positive 10, if I go from negative 4, I need to increase negative 4 by 14 to get up to positive 10. So this is coming from, this 10 is coming from negative 4 plus 14. Because negative 4 is already on my pentagon, but I need 14 to make it to be positive 10 on my perimeter. So this would be my missing side here. Okay, so now we're multiplying. You can multiply anything. Just remember your rules that if you're multiplying, that the exponents add. So for example, x times x squared, that's going to be x cubed. Okay, this is really 2 plus 1, because my first one has an exponent of 1. Okay, I have 1x here, 2x's here, so that's where x cubed comes from. All right, so looking at the first one, 2 times 2 is 4, x squared and x cubed are multiplying. Now I have x to the 5th. Okay, x squared times x cubed, add the exponents. All right, for the next one, we have 2 times negative 1, so that's going to give me negative 2. I already had an x squared, and I have another x squared. So I'm going to add the exponent, so that's going to give me x to the 4th. All right, now I'll keep going. I've already done these two. 2 times 3 is 6, positive 6. X squared times x, that's going to give me x cubed. All right, and my last term, way over here with the negative 5. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And x squared is just going to stay x squared, because here we have no other x's. So it's going to stay x squared, and that would be my product here. All right, next one, 2c minus 1 cubed. Please do not try to distribute this cube. That's a no-no. Do not do that. You're going to have to physically write it out 3 times. 2c minus 1. 2c minus 1. 2c minus 1. All right. So we'll double distribute for the first one, here and here. 2 times 2 is 4. C times c is c squared. 2c times negative 1 will give me a negative 2c. And then negative 1 times 2c is another negative 2c. And negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. All right, so that's the first one. But I still have to multiply by 2c minus 1. Got a lot going on there. All right, so this goes to both of these. 4 times 2 is 8. C squared times c is c cubed, because we're adding the exponents. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4, and I still have some c's from here, so c squared. Now do the next section. Negative 2c times 2c and negative 2c times negative 1. So negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. C times c is c squared. All right. Negative 2c times negative 1 just gives me a positive 2c. Changes my sign. All right, next one. Well, it's still negative 2c multiplying by the same two things, so it's going to be the same two terms. Negative 4c squared and positive 2c. All right, and lastly, 1 has to multiply by both of those terms. 1 times 2c is just 2c. 1 times -1 is -1. Now we need to combine all those like terms. All right, here, that's the only cubed, so 8c cubed. All right, and let's see. Squared, -4, -4, that's -8. Another -4, -12, so -12c squared. 2c, 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 that's 6 c's. And we have this lonely -1 at the end. That would be our product. All right, moving on, volume. If you recall, volume of a prism is area of the base times the height. Area of the base times the height. So if I call this my base, because it's a rectangular prism, it doesn't matter which rectangle I use as my base. I'm going to do 2x plus 2 times x plus 1. That'll be the area of my base. So that's this. Now that means the height is going to be my x plus 3. So I still need to multiply it by x plus. So x plus 3 here. All right. So double distribute to begin with, just like we did earlier. And that way you can have your volume. I don't want to make this video too long because it's going to look like we did last time. Just double distribute to begin with. Whatever you get there, multiply it by your x plus 3 and distribute all those terms, okay? All right. Example 12 is going to be very similar. The only thing different is if you call this the base of the box before you start putting it together, you're going to have 12 minus 2x, because remember you have to find the volume, which is area of the base times the height. So the area would be 12 minus 2x times 6 minus 2x. But then the height, if you were to fold it all together, would give you x. Okay. So you'll just double distribute here. Luckily, after you do that, you just have to multiply this x at the end with everything, and that will give you your volume. Okay. Okay, ready for some tricks? Okay, so there's some special product patterns that we need to look at. So if you notice that you have the same A and same B, and one has a plus and one has a minus, then basically what you're going to do is you can square your A, so basically multiply it times itself, you get 9x squared, and then also square your B, 2 times 2, which is 4, and you have to leave it as a minus. Okay, it'll always be minus, because a positive times a negative is a negative. All right, now if you see if you're going to square something, if you want to know a little trick, instead of writing it out 2 times, if you square the first one, z squared, and if you multiply a times b, the first and second term, which is 4z, multiply them times 2, that can be your middle term, and 4 squared, because that's your b, 4 squared at the end. Okay, so then your final polynomial would be z squared plus 8z plus 16. Little trick if you don't like writing it out 2 times. Okay, so another similar way would be if you had a minus b squared. So you take this and square it, so 4t squared, okay, minus 2 a times b, so negative 10t. And then your b squared would be positive, so plus 5 times 5, which is 25. So your final polynomial would be 4t squared plus 20t plus 25. All right. So when we have a cube, okay, so the third power, and you don't want to write it out 3 times, here's some tricks. a cubed, so you're going to start with x cubed, plus 3a squared b. So plus 3a is squared, so x squared, times b, which is 3 in this case. So 3x squared. Plus, now you can do the other part, 3 times a b squared. B squared being 3, 3 squared is 9. And b cubed at the end. So plus b, which is 3, so 3 cubed. All right, so our final answer would be x cubed plus 3 times 3 is 9, 9x squared, plus 3 times 9, which is 27, plus 27x, plus 3 to the third. 3 times 3 is 9, times another 3 is 27, and that would be the written out version. All right. And the last one is very similar. It's if you have a minus b rather than a plus b, and you can write it out like that. I wouldn't try to memorize these. I would actually do it, but just as a little trick for those of you that like to know them, okay?